Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. As soon as we start this program, you're welcome to pick up your telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, whether it is same-sex marriage and the U.S. reaction to Jamaica, anything. You give us a call. Remember, we're on RealFM, YouTube, and Facebook. And all our individuals in Trinidad, Laventille in particular, and other parts of Grenada, anywhere the internet is existing at that time, you can have RealFM there, because we're on YouTube and on social media. The number to call is 442-0175. That's the number to call. So we welcome you here today. Yes, and sometimes the technology run away with us. So we have it there. Yes, give us a call. And I just listening to the news and on RealFM and remembering the situation brewing between Jamaica and the United States of America, and I'm in full support of Jamaica. And that is when I believe organization, because to take on the US and Europe, you're taking on giants. And that is when voices in your country should raise if they support it. Now, based upon the laws of Jamaica, same-sex marriage is unacceptable and it's illegal. The diplomats that they want Jamaica to recognize are involved in same-sex marriage. And the U.S. is going to show their weight around. Jamaica so far has resisted. But you need other Caribbean countries to give support. You need trade unions and other powerful organizations in the Caribbean to give support at this time. Small countries as ours are extremely vulnerable to the big shocks. But sometimes collectively they need our support. They need solidarity. They need our voices. And when we are challenged, most of our people hide. And that's one of the big problems we have. Some people like to jump up on morality conveniently. If you're going to take a stand on issues, at least you must be consistent. It doesn't matter what happened. Just like today in Grenada, you have issues going on where the government that be, because of their policies, are very hostile to people in the lower income group, and some people shut them out. So these are some of the challenges we'll discuss. I also want to say we must fix the pitch. I believe in life, one generation of people have a right to fix the pitch. You don't have to tamper with the ball, but you must fix the pitch. If your children is going to bat on the pitch, you must try to fix it. It's better to give them an even playing ground so they could make runs or they could bowl on it. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good
Yeah,
evening.
my brother.
I want to know if Union and Grenada no longer give solidarity to each other, because for the first 3 or how much weeks the public bank workers protesting, and I find they get solidarity for the rest of the Union. I don't know. That's strange, because I know usually Union does give solidarity. So I don't know, maybe as the wrong government in power too, or the right government in power, maybe they are push more politics in it. Because that's true, because usually they give solidarity to each other, and I find for weeks, no, the other union and look and support Republic Bank. To me, I find that's some kind of strange. Like, and I was listening to the minister talk concerning NIS thing, and he mentioned that the NIS pay not more than the OECD. But I don't know if you know that other people are working to contribute to NIS. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if he never pictured that out. He didn't see that. Maybe you're looking one way. Because the reason why NIS contribution is people contributing towards this scheme, after the scheme to survive. And if people don't have a job, you can't contribute. So I don't know if you didn't watch it that way, just say, well, they lose in and they have to raise this and raise that. But look at it, once people are working, you don't expect them to collect any money because people have a job. So take care and have a good time.
Yes, it's true. I think and it tells workers, if you're a worker, you're a worker. Some workers believe that they're in a different social class. And that is one of the big challenges we have within the workforce. In yesteryear, we had the Civil Service Association. And that was the top of the line workers. It's not that they're making money, When you hear workers believe they're in the top social status, it's not that they're making money, They have, what do you call that, white collar workers or whatever. They believe they're in a prestigious position more than the ordinary workers. Sometimes the charwoman in season paint making more money than a principal of a school. Sometimes the electrician in the street and the plumber making more money than a senior officer in Hobbards or Hoggins or St. George's University. Sometimes an ordinary mechanic might be working, a good one, might be working for $250, $300 a day. But where the workforce is concerned, they see him as insignificant. And a worker that's making $1,200 in an office in St. George's and spending $400 for a bus. I had to buy lunch every day and poor like church mice. Believe they're in a bigger social status. Sometimes a fisherman might be making over $100,000 a year. I really want people to start to be observant. Look at some farmers in your community. They do farming. After a little while, you see they driving a vehicle for $100 and something thousand. Compare them with some workers that might work 25, 30 years in any one of the big name companies in this country. An ordinary farmer, a Jukutu farmer, as we say. We turn down, we nose at him. Look at perhaps the vehicle he might be driving. He gone in Trinidad for Carnival, gone in Barbados for crop over, he gone in America. He might be making more money than any senior officer in any one of the big name companies in St. George's or senior public officers. But these officers believe they're in a social class. They have a status job. On many occasions, I notice a little girl from Ticolo. When I say a little girl, a big woman, she kind of short down and she looking nice too. She nice as guava. She look as a sopadilla that ripe in the shade. She have 2 children. And I see her as an athlete. 6 o'clock in the morning, she racing to go and get a bus. She working in St. George's. She comes back after 5, 6 in the morning. For 6 days of the week, she in St. George's. And on Sunday, she have a good man, a good alpha male. So she have to give him time to. And when you watch her face, she look tired. I speak to this girl, I say, well, why you don't let your man employ you? Let him pay you $1,000 a month because it's $1,200 and something for you working in town. Let him pay you $1,200 a month. He's a mechanic. You good on the computer. Help him to keep records. Wash down vehicles for him. Cook food for him. Pay NIS for him. Because he's not paying NIS for himself. He don't have discipline. When he go in the shop to eat, to buy something to eat, he drinking 3 Guinness. is spending more money in one day for lunch than what you working for a day. Let your man employ you. Add discipline to a job. So when you do one job, you could call back the individual and remind them when they have to come back to check their vehicle. Tell him give $1,000 a month. That gonna be more than the 1,200 and something you're working for in town because you have to pay transport. But you see, our people are trained and educated to behave like turkey cock, have status job. And if they go to university and they get a master's, a bachelor's degree with it, they're broken, but they think they have a status job. But I want you to take your pen and your paper. Now, ask any public officer, any senior public officer that is about to retire or retired, the average salary over 30, 40 years would not be more than $3,000. The average salary over 30, 40 years would not be more than $3,000 a month. Whether you pay them bi-monthly or what. Now, the last time I checked is 12 months in a year. And if it's $3,000 you're working for, that is $36,000 per year, per annum. Multiply that by 40. And even though you can do maths, you would not get more than $1.5 million. So for 40 years, one of these senior public officers, or one that working in Hubbards, Hoggins, Coates, SG, you name it, any big company in town, the average salary was not more than $3,000. Let us suppose they save or invest 25% of that over 40 years. They have a house and a car, and if they live frugal, and maybe they have a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in the bank if they did not have major medical. And that is why a lot of them don't care about family. Because the family believe they have big jobs and they could help them. So rather than explain to the parents and the relatives are not making money, are vulnerable, are broken, are on the point of poverty, they're pretending that they're making money. It's a serious problem, you know. Examine the 9 members of the government. I call them vultures. Why do I call them vultures? They prey on the physically challenged, the elderly, disadvantaged children, and the poor of the poor in the country. As soon as they get to government, they take money for themselves. They add money to their income, and they subtract money to the lowest income group. When I was young, I would have called them a gigi, but I didn't know the word vulture yet. And vulture looked as a nicer word. They are vultures. One of them even sell a car that somebody lent him. But if you see them play as if they're not vulnerable. For years, the National Democratic Congress, nuclei members, their main members, been chastising Grenadians for being poor and greedy, for being lazy, for going to school in August, for not speaking good grammar on radio, calling them nasty people. The most despicable names was used. And almost all the members of the National Democratic Congress are vulnerable to. Every one of them, they're vulnerable to. But because of a mentality problem, we like to pose, show off, play with some kind of czar, do as if he's turkey cock, walk around with a briefcase, a certificate, and pretending. And that is the challenge we have in this country. As soon as we change that, we will make headway. Real FM is the most successful radio station outside St. George's. And I challenge anybody in the country. Well, you don't have to, nobody will have to argue with that. And it must be a struggle for them because it's difficult for people in the rural areas to advertise with Real FM. Why? Well, it's Real FM from the country. So they prefer to advertise with somebody from the town. Other radio stations have tried in the country. It was such a great challenge that they went to St. George's and they will tell you, we're not getting advertisement when we're in the country. It's all a mentality. Grenada is a 2x2 country. I am not one who support this country and tongue thing. The people who in St. George's that pretending to be tongue people are country people. Father from Victoria, mother from Gov, aunt in Victoria, who from St. Andrews. They in St. George's, they say them is authentic tongue people. Don't believe me. Do some research. Almost all of them, either from Karakou, Pitimatnik, or the country areas. So what we need to change in Grenada is our mentality. This is why I believe you hardly find successful business with children in it. Almost all the children from successful business have abandoned this business development. They would like to harvest from the business, but it doesn't contribute to the development of the business. This is why we are not able to pass on generational wealth. So we must do something about it. We have to stop pretend and waste time. I listen to the radio and some people are ecstatic. They're happy that universities from Canada and other countries come in and shop in Grenada. That is not a good thing. That is not a good thing. These people are searching for talents. And they go to the developing countries and select some of your most successful brains to bring in their country because they know these people not coming back. That is what you call brain drain. If your most academically successful sons and daughters leave the rural areas, leave the small country of Grenada, Dominica, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and go to Europe and work, they most likely would not come back. So how your country is going to develop? Our sons between 18 and 30 gone to the British Army. As soon as those girls see them in England, they want to marry them. And the boy have she picture watching while he's in the army. And if he dead as a result of gunshot wounds or accident, then that wife is fixed for life. And if he ended and he come back, she just had to call the police. The police say they have a name, some syndrome after your fight. So he end up in hospital or she divorce him and she get the money. This is what happening to our sons. Why are we encouraging our healthy, successful, intelligent sons to go and fight other people's war? Why are we encouraging our nice, young, well-educated nurses to leave Grenada and go in England to work? Why? By the time they finish work, most of them come back with health problems. And if they have a child or two in Grenada, they send back some jersey with number on it, and the child gone astray because he don't get his mother's attention. And then where you get, man, when you go in the amount of elderly sick people you work for? England have the fastest burnout rate where nurses is concerned. England don't want to pay nurses for overtime. So English nurses prefer to go and work in America. England a few years ago cut a program where it was educating nurses by about 60%. So it is easier for England to attract nurses from Grenada, the Caribbean, and Africa. Why? Because we believe they get better pay. They're in the same pay grade. It's just that the pound's going to double the EC dollar. So when you come back, you have money by the house. Sometimes you have a stupid child here. Can you leave the child? The mother in England sending £2 and a jersey with number. You ain't any grandmother, you ain't any teacher, nobody. So he turned lunatic, a half lunatic. And they send so much food in barrel, he fat. Why can't we wake up and understand that? Because our trade union here is encouraging our nurses to go indirectly. They're not telling them the truth. What you need to do is do a little research. Start to ask nurses. Start to speak to nurses who left Grenada and go and work in England. I have never met one yet that don't regret. Some of them shame. Barbados is looking for nurses from Africa. Over 40,000 doctors from Africa in Europe. And African had to go to the medicine man. Well, they must. Because as fast as you train them in your country, the developed countries is more attractive. They're going to take them away. Because our problem is mentality, is a kind of show off. It's the same syndrome you see here with NDC. Playing hefe. Cussing people, nasty people, good people. So they make you believe that we have bad people in Grenada and good people. So are supposed to be on the good side. We have to change. When universities come here searching for our best talents, it's a big plan to lure your talents out of your country. Our young men that they're going to the army. If they go to England and after they do medical tests, they find out that they're not fit, they send them back. That they're not fit. So your prime, your best, your most valuable or invaluable, healthy individuals that left your country and go. They come back shell-shocked. When I speak I open myself for challenge, and those people in the diaspora, tell you Grenadian brothers and sisters, and Vincentian and Dominican, tell them about the hospital for injured soldiers. Some of you know, you're bad-minded too. Tell you Grenadians that they have hospital for injured soldiers. Because more people die, more young men died and get injured. Well, no young men and young women died and get injured while training than in actual war. They call it friendly fire, and during training, some of them shell shock, some of them mad. How many of our young men that left Grenada and go to England or American Army that you're hearing good stories about? Maybe 1 out of every 100. The time has come for us to fix the pitch. Let us fix the pitch for the next generation. When your children go to school, discuss it in the house. Almost all Grenadians that have children in school today been to a secondary school. Or one of the parents been to a secondary school. Sit down and discuss your children's education in your home. If there is a neighbor that his children is very successful in school, hold dialogue with them. Ask them. If the businessmen in your community are very successful, speak to them and determine what are the best package I must provide for my children so I could fix the pitch. Don't tamper with the ball, but fix the pitch. When your children go to school, by the time your child have 5 years, and why I use 5? Because it is mandatory to send your children to school by the age 5. But there are 2.5 Eric Gary introduced pre-primary school. I think we get the word kindergarten and we like it from away. So we don't bother with pre-primary again, we say kindergarten. He introduced pre-primary school from 2.5. And the previous government had a program where they send teachers to help your child from 6 months to 2.5 years. Now, what you must do for us to make super Grenadians in relationship to other Caribbean islands. What we must do, because the education system in Grenada is unproductive. Nothing is wrong with the curriculum. The education system is unproductive. And our educators should be shedding tears. But they're not. Because a few children is successful and some of them comfortable with that. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
I'll deal with that issue that you're always talking about, the aspect of mathematics and English language. For a second, considering what I want to deal with a little bit more, delves into actually. This whole aspect of the limitation of people not being able to pass mathematics relate to the understanding of logical thinking. Mathematics gives you that ability to think practically, logically, which people refuse to do quite naturally because you present a ABC subject matter to them, which is the English language I'm talking about now, at the same time relating to the calculation of the words that are spoken to make sense of, it pass over everybody's head. Put it that way. No, I'm not criticizing people. What I'm pointing out is what is normally happening. And there comes the problem with an argument. This is why politicians and, for example, preachers getting away with a certain nonsense that they talk that people cannot put the 2 and 2 together about. I might say a lot more because if I go to talk about it for the whole day, I'll be talking. Relax and listen to me. When I tune into the program just now there, because I was doing what I'm doing, I'm at work actually, and I was doing something, I take lunch late, and I usually listen to the program normally. Anyway, because I'm listening on my phone, right? And here I'm talking to you on my phone and whatever. So listen to this. There you were talking about the bank issue. Here is a problem. And I don't know if you understand the bank you're talking about, When I say understand the bank you're talking about. Here's a problem. And you might have noticed that I was kind of angry when I spoke the other day about the 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 what do you call it, the impasse, the what do you call it, strike, the strike that the bank people are going through. Here's the problem. The bank owe me, for example, I'm a shareholder. The bank owe me hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. For years, I've never gotten a dollar after I invest my money. So let me talk what I'm talking now to the guy that just call and tell people to save a dollar. I'm 67 years old, strong as ever. If you mind, let me tell you that. Right now, I'm doing a roof on a house, and I have another one to do. I climb up every day. I do everything. I'm strong as can be. I work hard all my years. I don't have a dollar to show for it. After I invest, for example, in that Dotis bank, that now workers who work there and they make $24 million profit for the past 2 years don't get a increase, don't get a raise, and having to go through the inflation process. So let a guy understand, and let anybody who is criticizing, who is confusing, as you might say, for the $2 that is the 150 that is taken out, you might say, I say $2, but it's 150 that is taken out. It's the same problem all of us have. We need the money to function. I don't have money. I'm broke. I'm so broke I can't even pay attention. I don't know how I'm taking it too long, but listen to this
You're
carefully.
rounding up now, so it's
In the given situation, Mr. Pierre, and ladies and gentlemen who are listening, understand this. We have an economic crisis, you might say. It isn't described so far as yet, where money is so hard to come by. At the same time, the $2 you have disappears so quickly. The bank owe me thousands of dollars in dividend for all the investment I had
They don't
inside the
give
bank.
dividends.
I take my money, I invest in it.
They don't give dividends.
Up to now, I didn't hear you.
The banks don't give dividends.
The bank has not been paying dividends for years. Actually, I don't hear you. Listen to me.
Well, they didn't make
Because
money.
I'm on WhatsApp, right?
Yeah. Over.
Relax a little bit. Relax. I'm on WhatsApp, so I'm not hearing you clearly.
Okay, go
You might
ahead.
be
Go
hearing
ahead.
me
Go
and the
ahead.
people might be
Yeah,
hearing me
thank you.
clearly.
Go ahead.
So when you're talking, there's a
Go
reverberation
ahead.
going
Go
on
ahead.
in your writing. So let me talk. In the situation as we have it, this is why I was complaining so vehemently. I was angry, and I'm angry every day. And I don't have time to go and demonstrate to the workers. But the bank is a damn dirty, idiot situation in our country right now. And I'm telling you, I'm not angry to the extent that I will pick up a gun and go and do
No.
it.
We
But don't be
understand
sorry,
that. We
somebody might do it.
understand that.
Relax. So understand that. I'm pointing it out to make sense of the whole issue. The thing is so obnoxious, it's senseless. To the extent that the bank is not listening, to the extent that the bank, now that the workers inside there
Yes,
are
scholar.
feeling
Thank
it.
you.
What about the
Thank you.
shareholders? What about the shareholders? What about the shareholders? I'm a shareholder. I invest my money. The minister for tourism right now, the last meeting I attended in the bank conference, came trying to convince the shareholders to sell the shares to the bank or bring back the shares to the bank. When 6 months after, the bank won by to the tune of over $9 billion
We may have
of
to do some.
other bank assets in Africa.
We may have to do a program on the
This
bank.
whole thing is irritating.
Yes, scholar.
This thing is serious.
We may have to do a whole program on the
I'm not hearing
bank.
you.
Yes, thank you.
Take care.
Yeah. There are so much issues that go on with that, and maybe we have to do some research and speak about the bank and some pointers. But obviously, these are the challenges. And our forefathers, they wanted to control the factors of production. They already had labor and capital. So they send their brightest son to go away to study. But our sons to study initiative. When they come back, they sold the bank. And they sell the assets that they have. And that's one of the saddest mistakes we make. And we are about to commit it again. We sold the electricity company. And after the war in Ukraine, no Grenadian politician should want to sell our source of energy. But I know this government will sell the electricity company again. And sometimes I ask, what's wrong with us? We must be prepared to fix the pitch. We have one electricity company and we're going to sell it. We sold the bank. We sold the bank, I think, for 12 million. And the very year they make about 2 million in profit. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, good evening.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Well, I don't always get the opportunity to listen to you, but for a few days I've been listening. I mean, satisfied, pleased, you know. Yes, well, there are things that are not so right, and there are things that are right. But let me see. Come off of my brain quickly. Let me just reminisce, recollect, celebrate whatever it is. The 11th of July, 1981, I was rudely awakened about 3 a.m. by gunshots outside the home I was living in. I was in my underpants. I took a chance and I peeked out the window, and there were soldiers and whatnot, etc. And they ordered me out. And from then, well, the history is the University of Providence, the University of the old NIS building, the University of Oakville, the University of Richmond Hill. And I mean, here, I want to just recollect on a few dead people. Their families will probably appreciate. Russell Baudlal, Leslie Pierre, this Ralph Thompson, Wrighton Sutter is the very hometown there. Donville Nichols boy. And this was a man that was left out of the Claims Commission just like myself. So I'm saying here, 42 years I'm suffering. And that last NNP administration, they had 3 opportunities with a full house to rectify most of the evils, the problems that was there and existing. You know, H.E. Blaise and him and I got angry. I got angry with him because when the Yankees was paying me $30 US per day in Grand Dance, that man kicked against it. And that man talk about $30 dollars. And from there, I can tell you, we have problems coming right up. So anyhow, I just remained on these few names because these people, they suffer like myself. 42 years I'm under tribulation here, suffering still. I'm a homeless person. But the state, I would say, owes me over $130,000. I know the interest grows on it, then you can just imagine. And not 1 cent, but no, around. Because the Mitchell administration, in 1997, 98, somewhere there, they gave me $4,000. You know, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was held. You know, I've been to that. You know, I want to just call a few live living people. Kenny Lal Singh, Winston Whiteboy, I hesitate to say, Brother Sullivan, affectionately, Uncle Tilly.
Uncle Tilly, yeah.
At one time, while I was in the Richmond Hill University, I had a dream that one of us would be a leader. And I really thought it was Winston White that was going to be there. But Tillman Thomas, he got it. And he blew the own fuse because when I went to his office to pick up my frame, you know what I told him? I understand you want to involve David and Chester Humphrey in the party. And I beg him, please, you know, I don't know, he tell me something about the Bible and the whatnot, etc. You see what happened with him? They turn around and they stab him and they threw him out because he should have been our Prime Minister all up to today. Uncle Philly, have a good day, boy. I didn't do wheelchair and I enjoying life still. Thank God, boy. KB, Kennedy, Budlal, well, I ain't know, boy. I tell you, sometimes I was surprised at the comments you make. Because I know, I go through some torture, and watch, they hang me up on a gate with a handcuff in my hand. For 9 hours in the Oakville University. 9 hours, you know. Just imagine, my toes just barely touching the pot. And I one red underpants I could never forget because that would take me out of my house with on that gun point and whatnot. They tell me questioning from 10 to 50. I had a good time talking with you now, eh? Enjoy yourself. Give someone
Thank you,
else.
Color. Yes, Color, thank you. 11 July 1981. And these times, every now and then, give us a punch, man, and tell us something. That is history. And we must know it. And Danville Neckers, man. Sometimes Danville Neckers' name doesn't stick with me. Although I've had the opportunity to have many discussions with him. And Russell Boudlal and Leslie Pierre. I've had the opportunity to discuss a number of issues with them. Yes, brothers and sisters, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes,
good
my
evening
brother.
again.
Yeah.
That voice I hear there, I know the guy, but I try to remember him a little bit more than I'm hearing his voice. Listen to me. The soil that he was hanged on, I'm standing right on it right now, Mr. Pierre. Mr. Pierre, I'm standing right in Hopeville, where, if he might remember, we did give all the grass and the bush to get to plant, to make his own food. I'm standing right in that place right now. And when I, for the past few months, well enough, Dickie Mitchell come and invoke the spirit of Maurice Bishop, which I used to be a friend of at one time. I sat on the same chair with Maurice Bishop in 1974, trying to take over this country. I was an NGM leader, one of the NGM leader. And when guys talk about Maurice Bishop as some growing person, they need to listen. I've been there, done this. I gave up on this since 1976 for a good reason. Recognizing that when we come into power, as I said it to over and over people, I was the leader of the party at the time in the constituency of St. Patrick East. I was the leader of the party. And I used to say to people that when we come into power, we will be no different from Gary and the Gary right. Bishop came into power, what he did, all the obnoxious things that Gary didn't even do. So that when a guy is talking now, so vehemently aggressive, not vehemently negative,
Not aggressive, passionate.
aggressive.
I think he was more passionate than aggressive.
Passion. Oh, thank you for the better word. Thank you for the better word. So passionate. I am standing right where the guy might have been hanged. I don't know. I don't know exactly who was hanged, right? But I'm in Hopeville, in the very area. There were some holes, the hole that you big garden with, that I discovered that I could, if I use a picture or a video to show the people, I pick up
Take a
holes
picture,
in the
take a
area.
picture and send for me, man. WhatsApp me, man.
I'll do that in
Yeah.
due time. In
Yes.
due time.
Thank you.
In
Thank
other
you.
words, to prove that exactly I'm there.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that guy, and
Yeah.
I'm passionate about like him, and I empathize with him. I'm sorry for your
Yes,
son.
thank you. Thank you
There's
very
a
much.
confusion that's going on here.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. And we want some more voices like that, you know. On this program, your punch. So you could always call and give us the bits, you know, bits that happen. Over 3,000 people was arrested at that time. Some of them never get paid. Sad. Some of them never get nothing. The PRA, the people who they considered as on the code side, they didn't even pay them for the month. Some of them remained in the street and went on drugs, and went on vagrants. You know, this is why when people treading in these areas, they must be careful. When we're talking about history of Grenada, be careful with it. But I say, for us to correct the blunders we have made in the past, we must fix the pitch for our children. We don't want our children struggling and not competitive on the market and government on firing them because of political expediency, because of restorative justice, because of political vengeance. When your child go to school, make certain your child do well in mathematics, chemistry, biology, physics, French and Spanish. Teach your children music. Even though the school don't have a program, find a program. Parents buying $300 shoe for children. but they don't want to pay $10 a week for music. Don't say you don't have money. Get a shell. All them job that whining wrong now. The majority of them could blow shell. If your man is a job, encourage him to teach the children to blow shell. If he is a fisherman, teach his children to blow shell. If the man you have is a carpenter, teach your children to measure. Measurement area is length by breadth. Measure the house. Measure the floor space. Measure the tiles in the house and work out how much tiles you have to put in the house. Measure the bucket. Ask the teacher for the formula to calculate how much water they're going to go in the bucket. Practicalize the mathematics story as early as possible. When you go to the supermarket and you take the slip of paper, cut out the total, and make the children check the message for you. But you have the total because you don't have time to check. So just cut out the total. Give your children home to check the message. We have to do more. We could do more. Don't expect the education system to do it. They've been chaffing with children. They know they've been doing injustice to our children. 70% of the children that exit school are not doing well. And every time you approach the subject of productivity, they come with subterfuge, technical education. If your child leaves school at the age of 16, they can write, they can add. What mechanic they're going to be? If you want to be a good mechanic, you must do mathematics and physics. You have to pay government tax, so you must be able to do maths. You have to write reports, you must be able to write. And Latin America and South America have millions of people. And because of our geopolitical relationship with them, it is important that we do French and Spanish. Let us be more welcoming to Haitians and Venezuelans. Because we could go to several hundred Grenadian children could get opportunity to study in Latin America. Imagine if Grenada got 10 scholarships per year in some of the main universities in Latin America. We are a small country. We could do better. But we have too much Grenadians, believe too much of our people in higher position, preoccupied with status jobs. So they genuinely don't want much people to succeed. Try your best, don't let your children be in it. So they are the wimp and fancy are the power of the politician. Even though money has been taken away from your money now, if you prepare your children correctly, they will be in a better position in years to come. Help them with mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, French and Spanish. Computer science is necessary. Don't let nobody tell you your children can do these subjects. And if the teacher tell the teacher, write it down and sign their name so you could make it public. But they're not academically inclined. Only their children are academically inclined. It is not about genetics. It's environmental factors. The majority of children, the majority of young people, or the majority of people in our prisons today did not have a good education. The majority of people in the prisons throughout the Caribbean did not have a good education. They are not competitive on the job market, so they're more likely to fall prey to deviant behavior and antisocial behavior. Now the answer to that is to do everything within our power to make our children more competitive on the job market. If you have a child with a good voice that could sing, as early as possible, give them voice training and introduce a musical instrument. You see, we have to do more. We can't blame everybody. If people is successful and you are not, it may well mean that they know something you don't know. So start to observe them and find out from them. I want to tell you, do history in school. Yes, you could do that for bragging rights. But when monkey writes his story, monkey always write. So you write your own story. Concentrate on mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology. Do French and Spanish. And you will be much more competitive on the job market. Make certain your child is exposed to music. You have art, you have music. And if you are poor, it makes it more necessary for you to be educated. We have enough schools in Grenada. What we have is low productivity in the school. And the government would not be able, this government would not be able to do anything about productivity. This government seems to be more preoccupied with taking pictures, going to gala, having a good time, and being vultures on the poor, the disadvantaged children, and the elderly people in our society. But you don't want to believe me? You could call me and tell me what plan you know the government have for the people in the lower income group. Call me and tell me what plan, what programs this government have for the people in the lower income group. And they don't have nothing. If they don't have anything, tell me what plan the NDC ever presented for people in the lower income group to change their status. Because I know of no program, none at all, that the NDC ever presented in Grenada for people in the lower income group. None. So we have to fix the pitch. And don't wait when you reach like West Indies team. Start now. West Indies seems not to have any more chance. All the chance dry up. So concentrate on your child in the house. Concentrate on your people. Give your child the edge. And this afternoon, from about 6 o'clock, RealFM will be in the area of Moya, in front Trippy's Minimac, in front Blogger Hollow Bar, and we have Anything Goes. So you could join us and express yourself. If you want to sing a song, you could sing. You could ask questions, you could make comments. You will be in Moya. So the community of Moya and the surrounding areas, don't let that opportunity pass you. Come out this afternoon in front Trippy's Minimac, in front Blogger Hollow Bar, and you have an opportunity to participate in our program, Anything Goes. RealFM had this program in the past on many occasions, and they are starting back a series of programs where they try to reach people in their own corner. Anything Goes. So come and participate in that. We want to also encourage our people to always remember that a child is a gift from God. It doesn't matter what circumstances that existed when you had the child. The child is a gift. And it's a good thing you have the child. And our population has not risen in any significant way in the last 100 years. So we need children in Grenada. We need to encourage people to make children. But all the same, you must do your utmost to make certain that your child have a competitive edge. And by the time they're 16 years, they should be able to branch off in any field that they want because they have a good basic education. You know, perhaps we have opportunity for one final caller. We don't have any opportunity more. So just remember this afternoon, this Thursday afternoon, anything goes. In Moya, in front Trippies Minimat, and in front Blogger Hollow Bar. Thank you very much.